Sure.
Like random, just let's hop on live and talk about what we're going to talk about anyways. Other
Right.
people might benefit. Why not?
Right. Exactly.
So we are live, ladies and gents. I've never met Marisa before. We've connected via social media, and a couple days ago, we're like, "Hey, we need to talk a little bit more about what's going on with this whole podcasting space."
Right.
And then we're gonna talk right now, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to stream this and just record it?" And she was like, "I'm down." I'm like, "Cool, let's do it."
Yes.
So
The beauty
I'm gonna
is
put,
spontaneity.
dude, that's what it's about. Just relax, have a good time, and talk. All right,
Right.
so shoot, I'll let you start off. You had questions, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just wanted to talk to you one about podcasting. I am a LinkedIn strategist that focuses on personal brands and, solopreneurs, people that work on themselves. And since last year, I've been well, no, the year before that, I podcasted just audio only. And then last year, August, I launched a podcast with a friend of mine who is kind of in a similar space, but um, it's a different brand. And, we're learning, we kind of went through like the agile model. So, like, we're going to launch a podcast. This is the logo we're going to launch with. Let's try it recorded. Let's try it live. Like, we've really kind of dabbled in all of that just to really make sure we're, one, doing it consistently, and two, learning along the way, like, what's the best process for a collaboration podcast.
Dude, the hardest part I've seen so far when it comes to podcasting is the consistency factor. Like,
Oh, yeah.
one person's going to be super down to do it on a regular basis. The other one says they're down, but kind of doesn't really want to. Life starts to get in the way, and I got to reschedule. That sort of thing. That sort of thing happens. Like when we first started, I told James we were doing a podcast. He was like, So you know how we do the whole business, bros.
Yeah.
So that came because I told him we were going to do a podcast. So we sat down and recorded like 3 or 4 episodes. But he's like, dude, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have a beer. So 1 beer turned into 2 beers, like 3 or 4 episodes in to recording. And we started, he went, business bros. I thought it was freaking hilarious. And we just stuck with it. So that's where it came from. And he sort of grew into it over time. And now he's now he's bought in. But that's kind of a lucky thing because it could have went the other way. He could have not bought into it. Right. And then would have started running into the same issues that you're having where, things start skipping out.
Yeah. And I think it's, it's funny that you say like it took him a while to buy in. And I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't start it and they don't learn like what's the best method for them because one, they're either too afraid to kind of like get started because they're so caught up in like the questions that need to be answered. Like, what am I going to do? Am I going to do it live? Am I doing a recording? Is it audio only? Like, how do I look? What is my camera? Like, all of those questions have passed through my brain, and I'm sure through yours as well. But then they don't get started, and then it doesn't happen, right? Or they're like, why don't I have an audience?
So I've been a fan lately of this lady named Brene Brown. She studies shame, right? You heard of Brene?
Yes.
So she has a podcast that she recently started like a month ago, right? And so I was listening to her first episode today, and she had this thing called the FFTs. So it's the fucking first time. And that's the syndrome that a lot of people get. What you're describing right there, that's what it is, right? It's like, damn, I don't like the way I look. I sound a little funny. Is my mic plugged in the right way? Is the light proper? Like, we got to kind of just get past the fact that we're going to suck at first. It's not going to be perfect. And then, but you're doing, right? The doing is the hardest part. I mean, you were talking about a LinkedIn strategy, right? And I'm going to ask you a little bit about that because I'm curious. I have zero LinkedIn game. Like, I have my stuff that gets posted there. I tried to sign up so that I can live stream there, but that's not happening yet. I have connections. I wrote a couple articles, but it's just not like my LinkedIn game sucks, right? But I still do it because I know that once I get good at, okay, now my feed has some stuff going to it. Now I understand how to make a connection. Like those things I can put away and I can start focusing on something to make that a little bit better.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it definitely is. That's the point of starting or working with someone that has done it and understands, okay, this is the process and this is how much time it's going to take. This is the cost, or, these are the tools you need to use. And I think a lot of people just get overwhelmed when they see all of that
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't done it, right?
Yeah.
It's not hard once you do it, but if they haven't done it yet, they're not going to either pay someone or they're just going to like forget about it. And it's definitely, I think that's, if you're a solo business owner or you are responsible for sales in your business or something like that, it's definitely important to, get started somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
or even talk to someone that has done it to maybe see if that's something that you want to do, or like kind of filter through the questions on your own,
Yeah.
or with them, like ask them the questions, and I think a lot of people are scared to do that. I mean, I have the same issues, same things that sometimes I wake up, I'm like, oh, I don't want to work on this thing because it's like, it's fearful. It's all fear based,
Mm-hmm.
So.
It is definitely tough to conquer our fears. Like,
Mhm.
if you just get a little bit better every day,
Yeah.
just a little bit better. Like this morning, like I go run in the morning, right? And it freaking
Hmm.
sucks. I never want to do it, right? I don't wake up
Yeah.
and think, "Yay, today I'm gonna run." This freaking sucks every single
Yeah.
time. But to get somebody that has never done it before to the position where they're doing it on a regular basis, it doesn't start. It's not like a flip of a switch. Not everybody can do it that way. Like for
Right.
some people, it's like, okay, I'm gonna set my alarm today. I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. The alarm goes off, and you get up and you turn off the alarm and you go back to bed. Like you
Right.
can quit right there, or you can say, you know what? I set my alarm. That's my first win. Tomorrow, I'm gonna try to stay up, like sit up from my bed for like 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And then after you get to that point, then you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna go running yet, but I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna start to move a little bit, and I'm gonna get my day going at 5 a.m. And then
Hmm.
the next day, I'm gonna get my gym clothes ready, and then maybe it takes you a week to get to the point where you go for your first run, but every
Hmm.
day you're progressively getting better, and as long as you remember that it's nothing more than a bunch of series of small wins. Like just win a little bit more every single day, then you'll get there. You'll
Right.
you'll you'll become that expert, and people are like, "Damn, you do that every single day?" Yeah, but it didn't start off that way, right? It
Right.
all start off
Yeah.
that.
I think that's definitely a good point because I get up for morning walks every morning now. I used to do like 15 minutes just to walk my dog,
Mhm.
and now it's like 45 minutes to an hour. And I like, for a while, I'm like, oh, I want to sleep in. Like I got blackout curtains. Like I'm totally like, yes, I could just sleep in. And I work for myself, so I don't technically have to wake up. But now it's like something I look forward to because it's just putting me in the right mindset. Like you might hate running, but you know how it sets the tone for the day. Like
Mhm.
I hate having my alarm go off at 5:45 in the morning, but I love when I'm like done with my walk by like almost 7:30, and I'm like, oh, like that was awesome. Like I can now have my breakfast and start my day, and like I didn't just open up my laptop and start working, or get on the phone right away. I was able to like just decompress with like nature. You
And
know.
here's the other thing about that, right? Like
Hmm.
today it sucked, right? More than other days. Today I
Hmm.
really was tired. Like, there's times where when I get to bed, I try to go to bed by like 9 o'clock, right? But
Yeah.
I got a wife, I got kids, and so
Hmm.
sometimes that doesn't happen, and I'm not in bed till like 10:30, and my alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning. So that's not a lot of sleep, and that's
Yeah.
cool for one day, maybe 2 days. By the third day, like
Hmm.
I'm pooped. Like this
Right.
morning I was tired and I got up and I went for my run and I felt good. But what a lot of people don't know is after that I came home and I took a 1 hour nap. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? To
Yeah.
try to recharge that battery.
Yeah.
And that's okay
Hmm.
too. That's
Hmm.
totally 100% fine. You're not Superman every single day. You don't have to wear that
Hmm.
badge of honor like I slept 4 hours a day every single day for the
Yeah.
month.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's
Yeah.
about having your routines, but it's also
Hmm.
making sure that you listen to your body and put some stuff in priorities. You're not going to be as effective in anything that you're doing if you're exhausted, right?
Right.
If you're exhausted, your productivity sucks, your product sucks,
Hmm.
your service sucks.
Hmm.
So get the rest you need, but also put yourself on that calendar, like hold yourself accountable to certain things that you're going to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely. Something that I've learned over time working for yourself. And I think a lot of people are like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I just do it. I just keep doing it. And then it becomes a habit. And then I can't do without it, really. That's kind of with everything, anything related to like business or live streaming, which is where we started our podcasting and, what you're doing, just do it first and then learn as you go.
All right, so let's get back into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I can philosophize all day long, right? But what can I help you with?
Yeah, so I did want to ask you about the automation side of it. I know we talked briefly about you doing some like automation when they sign up. So I have some parts of that set up, but I also have an assistant that helps with the process. So I'm just wondering, how you chose to start doing automation. Like, what was the tick that made you say, okay, like I need to set this into like an automation platform?
Yeah.
And what did you use and what made you, just talk about that a little bit.
So I'm a one-man band, right? I teach high school in the morning, so I didn't have a grip of time on my day. And so I wanted to do this podcast thing, mainly because I wanted to sell houses at first, right? And that didn't kind of pan out because I started interviewing real estate agents, and that kind of sucked. But we did turn into an interview-based platform. And so we're doing a show every day. We want to make sure that we book somebody every day. And when we would reach out to people. Literally, I would just be on Instagram talking to people, or on Facebook talking to people as they, became friends, or I reached out to them, said, hey, you want to be on the show. And it turned into a, I don't know, 10, 15, 20-minute conversation via DMs on trying to figure out what time best worked for them, right? And worked for us. And I was like, that sucks. Like, that's a lot of time consumption. And it was cool because we're conversing and engaging, not so cool because I just wanted to get them on the show so I can get to know them there, not so much via DM. Right. And so we had been using a program called Time Trade. And so finally I got to the point where I was like, okay, look, I'm going to set the calendar. This is the day. Like, we're going to do interviews Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. That's it. Like, if you can't do 4 p.m. on Monday, then find another day where you can do 4 p.m. And that's going to be the day that you're going to book it. And so we set the calendar up so that all those times were open, and Time Trade was our go-to thing. You can use Calendly. They all do the same thing, right? So now I got to the point where like the DM conversations got smaller. It was like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? Or like, yes, cool. Here's the link. Book a date that works for you, right? I noticed that Calendly, Time Trade, whatever, they don't allow you to capture emails and export them, the contact info, export it via like a CSV file. So we were they do allow you, like, you'll see it on your calendar booking. So when I get the booking from somebody who picks a certain time slot, it says their name, their email, their phone number. I just have to manually take that information, put it on a spreadsheet, and then I would be able to upload it. And I didn't even think to do that because business mindset and all. I was doing it more for fun. I didn't actually do it to build a business. But when I started looking at it more like a business, I was like, oh dang, I should have been collecting all these contact information. So what's the next step? I started with a Google form. So I started with here's the Google form. You fill out your contact information, and then hit submit. It'll give you the link for the booking thing, and then you're good to go.
Right.
But of course, Google is free. It's just not the greatest thing in the world. Right. So we kind of morphed into, okay, well, what else can we do to capture information and maybe even sell some stuff, right? And so I started looking into some stuff, and I ended up getting into ClickFunnels. And so I subscribed to ClickFunnels. I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to create landing pages and sales funnels, and we're going to sell all kinds of stuff. And so what ended up happening is I learned a bunch of stuff about ClickFunnels. I now, anytime I have a great idea, I can create a website real quick and put that stuff up. But you still hit the same speed bump that almost every single business has, which is, okay, I have a store. How do you drive customers to that store? Right. And that's always the problem with almost any business. On the plus side, that is where I solved the booking system issue. So
Mhm,
now I
mhm,
created a nice landing page. It has one purpose and one purpose only, to collect the information from the person who wants to be on the show. It
mhm,
takes that person's information, it puts it into a database where I can email them on a regular basis. They're also, once they hit submit, they get the calendar booking link, and now they can book at any time. And it's that 4 o'clock spot on pretty much any day.
right.
So
Okay.
they pick ahead of time. Our calendar is open 8 weeks in advance, so
Mhm,
you can book up to 8 weeks. And
mhm.
lately, we've been pretty booked solid
Yeah,
through.
I think I
Um,
booked for like June or something
yeah. So
yesterday,
so
2 days ago.
but
So,
but at first it was like, dang, I don't have nobody for tomorrow. I need to find somebody. And it was like looking for somebody. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm.
Now we're to the point where now it gets booked up in advance,
Right.
and that's a good thing. But it's so much easier now. It's just like you need to book a guest on the show. Cool. businessbros.biz/podcast guest. Here's the link,
Mhm.
and we'll talk to you when we get closer.
Do you have a question for you? Do you send follow-up emails to people for episodes? Like if I were on, would you, and then you send my episode, but like, do I also get, because I signed up as a guest, do I also get follow-up emails after the fact too? Like
So
episode 29 and on, you know?
yeah, so that's a great question, because that's where automation falls off for me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I treat this like a business, because I treated this more like a hobby, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have those things set up. I'm
Right.
just now starting to do that. And so I don't have email campaigns set up.
Mm-hmm.
I created a course for podcasting because that was the most thing people asked about.
Right.
So now I have a 4-week course to help you launch your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that ebook that I put together. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just finished creating sales funnel. So now I'm in the process of, okay, so let's say somebody does go to download my ebook. Now I have their contact information. What do I do with that? How many
Right.
times do I contact them? How often? But all that is a process, right? You have to sit down
Right.
and you have to type up those emails. You have to set them up on timers and put them up to go
Mm-hmm.
out, 30 days, 20 days, 15 days out from the day they connected with you.
Right.
So, all those things are like, now I need to
Mm-hmm.
treat it like a business and implement, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
have them in place. I have the systems to do them. I just haven't
Mm-hmm.
written them up.
Yeah, you have like the foundation set. Yeah, I get that. I kind of feel like, people are like, oh, where's your community live? They ask me that,
Mhm.
just a general question, and I'm like, everywhere. I have connected, but I don't have like a one, and as much as I love to sit, like I used to hate, email marketing is like sucks. But it's not necessarily about email marketing. It's just having that database, like you said, like they signed up as a guest, then most likely you have some type of relationship with them. You've already talked to them now, and now you can talk to them about your course or your book or your products on your store because you got that email originally and it's in one place. So,
Pat Flynn has a great book called Raving Fans,
yeah.
and he talks about the three types of fans. So
Mhm.
you have a spectator,
Mhm.
you have a loyal listener, and then you have a raving fan, right? And so those are the three that I use
Mhm.
for when we have a podcast. And most people that see your stuff are spectators. So
Mhm.
I haven't developed the email campaigns, because what I was working on right now is putting out my content on social media platforms. So like
Mhm.
our episode, or our conversation right now, I can take it, chop it up into small pieces, put a nice little banner around it now,
Right.
a nice little wrap, make it look fancy, throw it on
Mhm.
Instagram, on Facebook, all that stuff. And so I have a system in place now where I'm taking time to record it, I'm taking time to cut it up, I'm taking time to redistribute. And so
Mhm.
that process is now done. Now I don't have to spend an hour to create one wrap, and like, I've
Right.
learned that process so that I can
Mhm.
slim it down. And
Mhm.
I even get to the point where now I can say, okay, well, what is the value in that? And so now let's focus on, it looks pretty, it looks very professional, I have a lot of spectators. How
Mhm.
do I get them to become loyal listeners? Right.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, I can make something fancy.
Mhm.
Does it attract attention? So now I'm looking at my metrics, right? I look on Instagram, I'm like, does it get comments? Well, most of my stuff doesn't get very many comments, right?
Yeah.
Does it get shares, and does it get saves?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not comments, but they're sharing and they're saving. Okay, those are good things. So I have posts that get, 7 shares or 5 shares or whatever it is. So now you know, okay, well, that's kind of pieces of content that are more valuable. Let's focus on growing some of that.
Right.
And the next step is like email automation. Okay, cool. Now I have a product to sell, right? Now I
Mm-hmm.
have a following. Let's take some of these loyal listeners. Let's take some of these people who've been on the show. Let's
Mm-hmm.
around and now let's put that content out more often. Let's send them an email every time saying, hey, here's the newest episode, check it out. By the way, you want to start a podcast, here's the course. All these different things as you develop your business. But again, it comes down to like, where are you prioritizing your time? I prioritize my time first on creating this nice little brand, this nice little look of
Mm-hmm.
our podcast is, because I
Right.
didn't need the revenue from it. That
Right.
makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
need the money from this. This I started off as a hobby, and now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, let's turn it into a business. So now I got to
Mm-hmm.
look at it from a different side. But
So I
I
have a question for you about the turning it into a business, and what at what point do you? I mean, for me, like that's how now I have turned kind of like the corner of it, not just necessarily being a business, but we got someone to help us promote it because I'm in social media, so I'm in all the time. I'm like, I don't want to post about this because I just recorded this. Like it's in my brain. Like I want people just to find it organically, and we've been able to get a good amount of subscribers just on our YouTube channel just organically. But now we're like, okay, let's push it. But the only way that happened is when I started considering it being a business and outsourcing that work, because I know I can do it. I can create that video, like you said, snip it up and put it up. But I'm like, for me, that then is my time away from other sales driving tactics, like picking up the phone and stuff like that. So I think that when did you decide, or when do you decide that like you're going to focus on the show itself and not the tasks around it?
That's a tough one. You know what? Honestly, it comes down to what I'm giving up to
Mm-hmm.
do the show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing it for fun, this is my space, right? Like I get to
Mm-hmm.
hang out with people, meet people, talk to them.
Right.
Like it's cool. But when I'm here with you,
Yeah.
I'm not with my wife, or I'm not with my kids, or I'm not with
Mm-hmm.
my, family, or whatever that is. So you literally, when you talk about balance, there's no balance. You're giving up one thing for another. Like you can only be
Mm-hmm.
present in one moment at a time.
Right.
So, and I'm okay with that. Me personally, I'm 100% okay with that. However, my kids might not be. My
Right.
wife might not be. And
Right.
so as soon as they start getting to the point where like, well, why are you doing it? Now
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have to have something to substantiate it. Like I'm the business bro, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm the business bro, I should be making money off this thing
Mm-hmm.
to to give myself more legitimacy, right? And
Right.
it doesn't matter that I have, the insurance company on the outside. It doesn't matter that, I don't have to worry about my bills. I teach the financial algebra course. That, like, all that is separate, because what people see is this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
so I put that little thing in my own head. There's no reason why I need to do it, but I put that thing in my own head.
Mm-hmm.
This to make money, to give
Right.
me credibility, to help other people do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So once I started looking at it like that, that's when I was like, okay, how do I run this as a business? And trust me, I've thought of a lot of different things. We
Mm-hmm.
used a team, Visionary Media, for a while to help us create our brand, in the
Mm-hmm.
color scheme and the Instagram stuff. And then I switched over and I started doing it myself. I want to take control over some of the things myself.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm looking at it as, okay, well, um, do I want to pump money into this,
Mm-hmm.
or do I want to generate revenue and use the revenue to grow the company?
Right.
Right. And so those are the two
Well,
things.
what comes first? Yeah.
Which comes first, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I've thought about it. There's people that I've met on the show now that I've honestly thought about reaching out to them, like, hey, this makes $0. Let's
Mm-hmm.
turn it into something that makes money. Would
Mm-hmm.
you like to be my CFO? Would you like to be my CMO? You know what I mean? Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
let's build a company out of this. My major hesitation with that is building a business sucks. It really does, right? Most people don't understand that. Most people only look at a business and think
Mhm.
of all the glamour and the money that comes in, the
Mhm.
fancy
Mhm.
cars, the party life. Like that's all they think about, right? But they
Right.
don't understand that it takes up a lot of time to build a business. And if you're going to
Yeah.
build one right, then
Mhm.
that's a lot more hours than just hopping on a call and talking to people.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
when I weigh those two options, when it's like, do I legitimize myself and make
Mhm.
myself that business bro and show people that this is where I make a lot of money from,
Mhm.
right? Do I do that to justify myself,
Mhm.
or do I keep doing this for fun? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
let you figure out that I have those other things. I have a history. You know, I've built businesses in the past. I have an existing business. It is it making me like a multimillionaire? No, but it's successful. It works. It's on its
Yeah.
own. It's built. Do
Mhm.
I want to go through all that again? And that's where I keep weighing myself. And that's what I
Mhm.
think about when, do I automate?
Yeah. No, I think that's a question for a lot of people. When they want to start a podcast, they want it to like generate revenue right away, but they don't learn all the things along the way that need to be done in order. I mean, in my opinion, I'm sure someone's doing it out there, but like I don't believe that you can do every single thing and make millions off one podcast and do it all. Because I just feel like you take your energy out of delivering the value or the message, or being, if you're having a people focused podcast like this, where you're talking to other people, like you're not doing what you need to do to prep yourself as a good host,
I think
because
it
you're trying to figure out like the automation, or like, oh, I need to
Yeah,
post
yeah.
this on social, you know.
I think it depends on who you are. If you're like you and me,
Mm-hmm.
we're just normal people. We don't have followings of hundreds of thousands of
Mm-hmm.
people, right? We don't have a million followers because we're famous and some outright, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson has a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson already built his celebrity status because he was a super famous boxer,
Right.
right? And
Right.
then he had an infamous phase, right? So he still, in other words, has a huge following. If he
Mm-hmm.
says, I'm going to start a podcast, and somebody's like, whoa, Mike Tyson's going to start a podcast? Well, you're going to get people who want to build that brand and start it off as a business, because right off the bat, you have
Mm-hmm.
that huge audience that you can sell to without any extra work.
Right.
The
Right.
audience already exists.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody else, for all of us starting at the bottom, we have an
Mm-hmm.
audience of zero,
Yeah.
right? And,
Right.
and and that's not a bad thing. Everybody starts at zero. Mike Tyson had an audience of zero until he started knocking people out, and then he started
Right.
to build his audience, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's the point, is everybody starts at zero and they think they're going to go
Mm-hmm.
from 0 to a million in like 3 episodes, and when
Right.
it doesn't pan out, they,
They give up. Yeah,
they
they're
give
done.
up,
Yeah.
right? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
saying, you know what, this week I'm going to get 2 followers and I'm going to get
Mm-hmm.
3 people to listen to my podcast, and I'm going to reach
Right.
out on Instagram, and maybe I'm going to become friends with like 5 or 6 more people, and I'm going
Right.
to engage with them, and I'm going to communicate with them. I mean, right now our Facebook following is about 7,500 strong. It didn't start off there. It started off at 0, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
so, and same thing with your skills as a host. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you get better. You listen to my episode 1, it sucks. I'm telling you right now, it was horrible,
I
right?
don't listen to my old episodes. I'm like, I know they're good. They're
Right?
there.
They're there, right? But you become better as you
Mm-hmm.
practice. Same thing
Right.
with all the other skills and all the other pieces that are going to go with this whole platform thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to grow it, even if you want to do it for fun, like I highly recommend that if you're going to build a podcast for your business, you mix in whatever you do for fun with whatever you do for business, and find something in the middle there.
Right. Right.
Because there's going to be these times where you don't feel like getting up in the morning, where you don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever it is that you're going to do. And if you don't love it, if you don't enjoy the process, you're
Right.
going to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. You have to. I think it has to be. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, what's my ROI if I start a podcast or a live stream? And it's like, do you have the passion for sharing or for your community or giving value? Like, what is your core value? This is not necessarily the podcast or the medium that's going to bring you money. It's what you're doing and what your why is. Like what Sinek says all the time. Like, know your why. Like, why do you do this? Why do
And
you get up in the morning to?
that's for you to go forward, right? If you
Mhm.
want to actually build a legitimate business, something that generates revenue, knowing
Mhm.
what you want is important, because it's
Mhm.
going to keep you going. But then also figuring out the pain points of your ideal customer, like
Right.
identifying who is your target audience, who are you speaking to? Because I can hop on this mic and talk to everybody in general.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
means nobody's going to hear me. And trust me, I was there too at the very
Mhm.
beginning. I didn't know who we were talking to. And even
Right.
now, I'm starting to even narrow it down a little bit more at a time as I
Mhm.
just develop as an individual, right?
Mhm.
I literally, like, literally right here is a list. This is, I don't know if you can see this. This is
Okay.
self-employed male and self-employed female, right?
Mhm.
And these are the qualities. These are the age group and how much experience they have and what are their needs
Mhm.
and what are their pain points. Because these are the people that I think I
Mhm.
could help the most.
Right.
These are the people that are going to connect with me because they're going through something I've already been through. This is in my past. This
Mhm.
was me at some
Right.
point. Right? This
Right.
was me trying to get started, trying to take off, trying to make some money and running into wall after wall after wall. Right?
Mhm.
At some point, I needed somebody there to tell me, like, you know, it's okay. I made that mistake too.
Right.
Right? This is how
Right.
I got out of it. It's
Mhm.
okay. I was feeling that stress.
Mhm.
I was there too. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't know that either. Let me share it with you. And
Mhm.
so if I can identify who that person is, you speak directly to that person, and then those people will begin to hear you
Right.
little by
Exactly.
little.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I think that resonates across whatever thing you're doing, whether it's a podcast or if you're doing, you're just online or you're doing writing a book. Like it's all the same basis core of like who you're talking to, what value you're bringing to them, and that's what you have to think about. And also, what gets you up in the morning is your why. So,
Yeah,
but yeah.
exactly. I mean, all of it combined, right? And then
Hmm.
and then there is no exact formula. Like
No.
what works for one is going to work a little bit different for the other. What motivates one is going to motivate the
Hmm.
other.
Yeah.
And the
You can
the
give
thing that
a playbook, like you can give them a whole playbook of how to do it. It's just a matter of if they will do it. Like we said, like, are you doing it? Are you,
Well,
just
here's the
pressing
other
the
thing that I
button?
learned. Yeah, the other thing is I learned from a lot of different people, right? Everybody
Yeah.
who's on the show gets to teach me a little bit something from their experience. So
Hmm.
many books out there that I've read and I constantly continue to read and educate, listen to podcasts, that sort of stuff. But the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, I can only teach you what I know. I can
Right.
only share with you my experiences. When I bring somebody else on, that's somebody else's experience that's being shared with you, and that's
Hmm.
awesome too. But when you ask me for advice, the only thing I can tell you is what's worked for me or what hasn't worked for me.
Right. Exactly.
Anything else is like, well, hearsay because I don't know if it worked or not. I can't
Hmm.
honestly tell you that person, that book, that author, they said it worked.
Right.
It hasn't worked for me. Maybe it's because I didn't implement. Maybe it's because I didn't do it correctly. Maybe it's because
Mhm.
I'm not that personality type. Whatever it is, I can only share with you what I've gone through.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and oftentimes I think a lot of people uh, try to share beyond. They try to share what they want to be, not who
Hmm.
they are, where they came from.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all
That
you can
fake
do
it
is
till you make it.
yeah, if you can only help people by reaching back and putting your hand out, right?
Hmm.
Like you reach forward, if there's nobody there, like
Hmm.
who are you connecting with? There's nobody in front of you yet.
Right.
It's where
Yeah.
you want to go, but you lead by being in the front, right? So even
Hmm.
if the person's just a little bit behind you, you can help them skip a step or two.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, I think it's all, well, I don't know. There's so many good concepts. I think we've gone like full circle with our little, we're supposed to talk about podcasting, but we've talked about so many things. But yeah, it's like giving back first and like, what are you giving instead of expecting to get, you know? So a lot
Well,
of people don't
yeah,
want to think like that when they're in business. I think it's just a mindset or where they're at in the beginning, or they're not in the beginning. There's some sort of scarcity mindset there.
yeah, 100%. Well, I'm a Gary Vee fan, and one of the things that Gary Vee
Hmm.
says a lot is you got to be patient, dude.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was going to be a millionaire at 25. That didn't pan out. It's been 17 years that I've been in business,
Yeah.
and I am much better off than I am. And I know that this next wave on this next economic cycle, this is my route, right? This is my
Right.
run. I'm riding this wave, and this is going to be the one. But
Hmm.
at the same token, like I could trip and fall on my face again. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's over. You just
Hmm.
modify, adapt, and keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
How you get
I just know that I'm way more prepared for this one than I was in
hmm
2008. In 2008
Yeah.
was the first time going through something I didn't
Hmm.
quite understand. I did relatively well, but I could have done way better. This
Hmm.
time around, like I have so much experience. I am well connected this time around. Like all odds point to your favor, but it comes with that patience, right? I spent the
Right.
last 15 years developing my skills and learning new things and
Hmm.
practicing and trying and failing at things so that when this time comes around, opportunity is going to present itself and I'm going to kick the shit out of that thing. Like
Yeah.
you're going to see, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I've prepared myself to do that.
Right. Exactly. No, I think there's so many tools that we have at our fingertips that they do take time to learn and develop, but we're definitely better off, I believe. And I don't know. I guess I'm not going to like talk down on people that haven't used this opportunity to learn things, but I feel like that if you're not doing that, then there's something else going on. If you're not taking this opportunity to learn and learn from it, then
Well,
it's a
and
whole
just
nother
remember,
topic.
not everybody's that ambitious,
Yeah.
right? So, we can never change other people. The
Right.
only thing we can change is ourselves and how we react to situations. So,
Hmm.
I know some of my good friends that, dude, they're never going to get anywhere in life when it comes to their own personal finances, but they got a roof over their head, they got food on the table, they get
Hmm.
to work on the cars that they love, and that makes them happy.
Right.
So good for them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like no matter what, they'll look at me and be like, I know I should have a 401k, or like they'll say stuff like that, right? Like they'll come at me like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I don't even say anything. They just like look at me and they feel that guilt, like, but they don't.
Hmm.
But the thing is, in reality, they don't care, right? That's not
Right.
what's important to them. What's important to them is what's making them happy today, and that's cool
Right.
too. That's totally
Yeah.
okay. We just need to, kind of take a step back and be like, all right, well, that's for you. But if
Whatever
you,
works for you.
but the other thing is things change. You can't complain about where you are if you're not putting in that time to
Right.
make yourself change, right? We can't
Hmm.
achieve what we want unless we change the people that we are.
Right.
So, there's that old saying where if you got $1 million, you better learn to be a millionaire real quick or you're going to lose it all,
Yeah.
right? Because millionaires think and act differently than people who are not millionaires. That's how they got to where they are. So
Right.
just because you have that dollar amount in your bank account
Hmm.
doesn't mean you're going to keep that dollar amount in your bank
Right.
account unless you become the person that can earn it.
Right. Oh, that's definitely a good point. And it actually brings me up actually a question that I have in my head that I want to ask you. So, if you had $1 million right now, what would you do with it? What would be
That
the first thing you'd buy?
that's funny.
I turned it around on you.
Mhm.
I like asking random questions.
No, that's cool. So, if I had $1 million, what would I buy? First and
Hmm.
foremost, um, we've recently done this whole activity on, well, James did, and I learned a lot from it. We've always had this arbitrary number in our head, $30,000 a month from passive income from
Hmm.
rentals, right? That's the goal that we would want to achieve. Once we achieve that goal, boom, everything would be hunky dory, life would be awesome, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Um, have you ever tried to spend $30,000 a month? Like literally, try this activity. Your goal is to spend $30,000 every month. So every day you're going to journal and you're going to spend some money until you
Hmm.
get to the $30,000 at the end of the month. If you do that consecutively for a few months and just track it on a spreadsheet, like this is what I bought, this is what I bought, you're going to realize real quick that holy crap, this is a lot of money to
Yeah.
spend. Like
Right.
literally, James was doing it. He'd get to the end of the month. He's like, dude, I still got like $9,000 to spend. What am I going to spend this on? You know what I mean? And so he'd buy trips to like for the whole family to go to Disney World and
Hmm.
pay their plane tickets. And like you literally, that is a lot of money. And
Hmm.
$30,000 isn't even $1 million. It's
Right.
$360,000 a year.
Right.
Right. So for me, when you ask me, what do I get for $1 million? I would pay off the house that I want to live in. And
Hmm.
then I'd buy a couple apartment buildings to maintain my income that I wanted to at that level.
Hmm.
And then I'd start building and helping other people build their businesses. Because
Yeah.
honestly, that is what I like to do. Like that's
Hmm.
why I teach the course that I teach. because
Mhm.
I'm hoping, like, every once in a while, not all of them, right? I mean, I have
Mhm.
like 150 to 180 kids every year. Not all of them are going to walk away and build a business or a side hustle like I
Right.
highly encourage during class, but a few do, right? And when they get out of that class and they graduate, they are familiar with concepts like taxes and concepts like balancing their checkbooks and debt to
Mhm.
income ratios to buy a house. They're not experts, but they've heard
Mhm.
it before.
Yeah.
And some of these kids, they do develop little side hustles in their own little businesses, and they come back and they're like, "This was the best experience or the best thing that ever happened." I mean,
Mhm.
that's what I thrive for. Like
Right.
I realized really, well, recently I'm putting it more into words. I like to win, right? Like I'm competitive. I like to win, but more than personally winning is I like
Mhm.
to be the one that helps somebody else win. Like if
Nice.
I can help you and you achieve success and I didn't get anything out of it, the fact that you're like, I am better off today because of what you showed me, taught me, helped me with,
Mhm. Mhm.
that's my happy zone.
Yeah.
And I get in trouble a lot with the wife because I do a lot of things for free.
Mhm.
Like, dude, you need to be getting paid for that. Like, you have that much, like, you have that skill, you have that knowledge. Why aren't you getting paid for those things? Stop
Mhm.
giving away your stuff for free. And for me, it's like that's my joy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's where I love to like see give birth to somebody's ideas and see
Mhm.
their dreams come true, and just to know that I was a part of that.
Yeah, I think it'll. I mean, that I definitely resonate with that because I feel like originally when I first started, I was like thinking like that, like everything I needed to. There was a dollar amount associated to it, but I've recently adopted, the to inspire a life of abundance in myself, but also others. So if I'm giving and I constantly can give as much as, without getting burnt out, it'll come back to me. And that's all I have to work. I'm not expecting it to come back to me.
But it
That's
will.
a different thing, but I just believe it will, right? So,
Mhm.
and so far it's worked out. I mean, thankfully, but
Plain, right?
yeah, it's crazy, but it works. Yeah, I think it's just fascinating to see how, when you switch your mindset into that of giving, if you are a giving person, that it does definitely come back to you in more ways than one, not just like money, but like maybe friendships and how those friendships have changed your life, or, opportunities that you get to experience, or vacations that you get to do because of certain people you met or something like that. So it's definitely there.
Dude, I like even little stuff. Like I'll show up
Hmm.
somewhere and be like, "Oh, what's up, Mr. CS?" And then like I get like a free, I don't know, Jamba Juice or something. I'm like, dude, that even little stuff like that, I'm like, heck yeah, this is awesome. This is
Yeah,
exactly what I do stuff. You know what I mean?
right.
And I don't know. That's I've always had this thing where I've always wanted to be rich and famous, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I never really liked being the center of attention. I don't like people looking at me and being like, "Oh, look at that." You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's not what I like. I like controlling the spotlight.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be a baseball player. So I was like, that's perfect. Like you look
Hmm.
at me when I want you to look at me. When you're not looking. When everything else, there's other
Yeah.
people on the field. You're watching the ball, not necessarily me. That's awesome. That's where I
Hmm.
thought I would go. Didn't pan out though. So that's all right. Here's another medium. Here's another opportunity. It just takes work,
Right.
and
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the biggest misconception with podcasting.
Hmm.
I loved it first and foremost because it's a greatest prospecting tool. Like you get to meet new people.
Hmm. Right.
If you look at it like that, if you look at it as this is your opportunity to meet new people, establish relationships,
Hmm.
nurture them, you're gonna win.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
gonna win because you're gonna do that anyways.
Yeah, it's just a different medium, like you said.
Different medium.
Hmm. Yay, podcasting. Yay for podcasting.
All right,
Awesome.
Marissa, you got any other questions?
No, I'm good.
I hope
I
I answered them
wanted to,
all.
yeah, you did. I'm just gonna like um the ClickFunnels thing. I think you could send me. I don't know if you have like a link or something, like a trial
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
You can
I'll
send that to
send
me
you
because I'm all about that affiliate game too. So I know how it
100%.
is.
Yeah.
Ain't no shame.
I'll send you the 100 day the 30-day challenge. That
Okay.
was the best. So you get the pricing for the whole complete package. I think it's like 6 months.
Mhm.
Um, you get 6 months, and I think you pay like 2 months or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and then they put you in a 30-day challenge so that you like literally watch videos every single day, and like it's step by step. This is what you do, and
Oh
it's just like
yeah.
hold your feet to the fire and get it done.
I think I've seen. Is that from the guy from ClickFunnels?
Russell Brunson, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that. I definitely have. I've seen the emails. I just haven't put my.
clicked
Yeah, I haven't clicked.
literally.
I haven't clicked the click on the ClickFunnels. Yeah, yeah. But cool. Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, all right. Well, hey, thanks for hopping on the
Yeah.
live. So we had people hopping on and off, and so hopefully we brought them some value today.
Do you have any questions for me? Like, can I answer anything quickly about LinkedIn, or I guess talk about that next month or June, I guess, whenever
Yeah,
we.
yeah. We'll save that for our show because that's where I
Okay.
get to know you. You get to tell me all about LinkedIn.
Cool. Sounds
Cool.
good.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Later.
Bye.